Welcome to a short tour of the Lateral platform. Lateral is a piece of software that helps the user do document analysis. This is the process of extracting small chunks of text or snippets from a larger collection of documents. Because users want to do this repeatedly, Lateral helps you by breaking the documents and concepts into relevant projects, so you can focus only on what you need to. Let me dive into one such here called employment agreements. This project is for an M&A use case where lawyers would be conducting due diligence, for example, on the potential purchase of one company by another. In such a case, Company A wants to audit the documents of Company B to analyse the risk and evaluate the transaction. The central organising principle of Lateral is this dynamically fillable report table here. In it, the rows correspond to documents, and in this case, they're executive employment agreements taken from the SEC, and they're publicly available. The columns correspond to the concepts, or in this case, clauses we're looking for. These can be chosen up here. We're interested in compensation and termination. The goal, of course, is to fill in the table. Each cell represents one concept from one document, so filling it in means all concepts are extracted from all documents. Because we haven't started yet, it's totally empty. There are two modes to Lateral. The first is this bird's eye view with the table, and a way to get started is using the Supercharge mode here. It's a normal old keyword search, so I can type in salary here. There's no machine learning, but it has the special feature that it searches across all snippets in all documents. If I scroll down here, I see that it returns different file names along with matches on the left-hand side. I can also filter by what we call level. This is a kind of granularity. The microgranularity corresponds to paragraphs, and I can go up and up, aggregating these into subsections, sections, and so on. Let me choose level 3 to get slightly larger chunks here. If I scroll down, I see various results that are a little bit longer, and I quite like this one, entitled compensation. Let me inspect it more closely here. It looks good, so I'll label it with the compensation label. If I scroll down here, I see the first instance of machine learning. These are called similar snippets. Instead of being judged similar based on mere keyword overlap, Lateral uses its underlying language model, which is a machine learning model, to decide whether the text is semantically similar to the first thing that it's seen. In this case, we see that medical, dental, and vision coverage are mentioned, which is not explicit compensation, but relevant. I could, if I wanted, highlight this, rather label this with one of termination or compensation clauses. But for now, why don't I just stick with this one and do another search. I'll type in termination to get started on my termination clauses, and we see expected results here. Again, all snippets and all documents. I quite like this first one here, so I'm going to label it with termination, and then return to the initial overview table. We see that if I scroll down, I now have 2 filled-in cells, whereas previously it was totally empty. To fill in the rest of the cells, I'm going to jump over to the document view here, which is an interface that allows you to loop over each document individually, and inside each find all clauses. Here we have just 2, termination and salary. So this is the first document. It's unseen, and on the basis of just one training point, the one that I gave it before, Lateral has decided that this is the termination clause. If I scroll down here, I see that the boundary is pretty good. It knows to stop at 6. This is because Lateral also leverages an underlying segmentation machine learning model that knows to chop up the documents the way a human would read them, into sections and subsections and so on. I'm going to click Add and Done because I quite like this termination clause. It's the right answer. And then Lateral thinks for a little and moves on to the next clause in this document automatically. It's going to give its best guess for a compensation clause. And here it's landed on compensation and benefits. That looks pretty good, but if I wanted finer granularity, also here in this interface, I can do that by clicking on the plus sign here. Minus takes me back out. Here we see it's decided that automobile allowance is the most relevant subsection. That's on the basis of just one training point, so it's not too bad. But the correct answer is here, so I'm going to click Add and Done and let it keep going. Now, I could repeat this indefinitely. We see here that we've completed exactly one document, so it's moved to the done section. But why don't I jump back to the dashboard where we were before and have a look at our progress. There we see that the two clauses I've chosen, compensation and termination, from that one document have been filled in automatically to this table, supplementing the two seed ones that I found initially. So this is a short demonstration of how Lateral works. The very final step, once you've found all clauses and filled them into the appropriate cells, would be to click the export button here, which creates a table in Excel format or CSV if you like. Thanks very much for watching.